This is Jared Horak, and in this video I'm going to discuss the Kentucky Derby post positions. I was going to do this video earlier this week. I just didn't have time because I was doing my Kentucky Derby full card, but that full card is complete now. If you're interested in my Kentucky Derby Day full card, you can find that at therunawayhorse.com on my sales page. It is complete and ready to purchase, and you can also purchase my Derby full card at todaysracingdigest.com or horseracing.nation.com as well. And if you're interested in reading my Kentucky Oaks and Kentucky Derby blogs, you can find those Oaks and Derby reports at todaysracingdigest.com on their Kentucky Derby page. And then bonus free selections at Horse Racing Nation in the handicapping section on the front page. I do a daily best bet each day. Let's dive into these Kentucky Derby post positions real quick. And then in my next video, I'm going to do the Kentucky Derby analysis and give out my top choice. I just did that video for the Oaks and gave out my top choice for that one. So check out that video if you're interested. In the Kentucky Derby, Hit Show will break from the inside post. And for trainer Brad Cox, the inside post really doesn't help anybody. You can see him possibly working out either a good or bad trip. It's possible that he'll get shuffled back, he'll have too much to do, or a few horses will clear early and he'll be able to save ground sitting back on the inside by himself. We'll have to see how all that works out. I just don't think the race he's coming out of, the Will Memorial, is very good. And I don't like his chances anyway, regardless of what post that he got. Verifying from post 2 could be in a bit of trouble because of his style. And he likes to get up there early. And from that inner post in a 20-horse field, he's going to have to really hustle early and try to maintain position. And I was already questioning his stamina for a mile and a quarter. So he's one that if he gets up there too close to the pace and the pace is a little hot, he's probably not going to have a lot of stamina left in the stretch to keep going. Two Phils, I would have liked to seen him draw out a bit more, but he's versatile. And horses that are more experienced like he is, he's already had 8 starts and he's faced all kinds of different situations. He's been in sprint races, he's been on fast track routes, wet track route. Last time, all weather ground. So Two Phils is one that he's handled everything they've thrown at him. So I don't know that the inner post is going to cause him too much trouble, but it really does depend on what happens around him. If some horses break sideways or whatever, you just don't know what's going to happen in a 20-horse field in the Derby. But Two Phils, I don't think he's eliminated from consideration at all from post 3. Back-to-back bullet works at Hawthorne, and that one on the April 27th was especially sharp. He seems to be coming into this race the right way. I kind of wish he would have drawn out further, but I'm not eliminating him from this post. Confidence Game, I don't think it really mattered what post he drew. He's one that I think he's in trouble from a fitness standpoint because he hasn't run since February 25th, and his longest race to date was a mile and a 16th. That was in the Rebel Stakes last time out in the slop, and he did win that one, but that Rebel has not come back a particularly productive race. And Confidence Game, he's looked good in workouts, but going a mile and a quarter off of that kind of layoff, and he only has mile and a 16th races under his belt. He's one that I think if they decide that he runs okay here and they run him back in the Preakness, I might consider him there to be much more fitter in that spot. It's tough to play him. I don't love the post, but like I said, I don't really like his chances anyway. Tapit Trice, he drew post 5. I kind of wish he would have drawn further out, but he had the inside post and then 11-horse field in the Bluegrass Stakes. And Luis Saez hustled him out of there, and he was able to ease him out to the outside, and he made a middle move, and he was able to outfinish Verifying that day, and those two were well clear of the rest. So I think that's the kind of trip they want for this horse. And if he can get pace help, it won't matter what post he gets. But I think at some point from post 5, Saez is going to want to get him outside. So maybe he'll ride him like he did in the Bluegrass. Try to get the best start that he can, establish position, get around the first turn, and then look towards the outer lanes and try to ease him out and then run down the speed. That would be his best chance to win. Kingsbarns, post is okay. He's versatile, but he's just not experienced enough for the Kentucky Derby. He's only run 3 times, and they were all 3 starts for this year. And he had just such an easy trip in the Louisiana Derby. I just think the Kentucky Derby in a 20-horse field is an entirely different story, and I think that he could end up being in trouble in here. Reincarnate from post 7. I think when you look how the horses drew, I think Reincarnate, maybe they're going to try to go to the lead from post 7. John Velasquez is known in the Kentucky Derby for getting aggressive, and he's won it multiple times, and he's ridden this horse before. He knows how to ride him, and he went wire to wire in his maiden win under Johnny V, and I would expect that they're going to try to get aggressive. I just don't think he's good enough. I don't think he wants to go a mile and a quarter, but I think that he can be a pace factor in this race. The next one, Mage, The post isn't really going to hurt him, I don't think, but the problem's going to be for Mage getting out of the gate because he broke slow and then he hit the gate in his start before that. He's just in the same boat as Kingsbarns. He just doesn't have experience. They've piled in these 3 starts in the Fountain of Youth second time out, then the Florida Derby. He had progressed and he ran well, but he's going to need a good start. And in this big field, he's got to go a mile and a quarter. He's got to overcome that slow start. He just doesn't seem professional enough right now. Skinner, fine post for him. He's a closer. He's getting good at the right time. He's training well. And I would expect that Skinner from post 9, no reason why he could not work out a good trip from there. Now, Practical Move, he would have broke from post 10, but he's spiked a fever, and now he's out of the Kentucky Derby. So Practical Move will scratch and not run. I thought it was a great post for him in post 10, but he's not running, and that changes maybe the pace a little bit because he would have at least been forwardly placed. Now, Disarm, I don't think he's going to have any trouble from post 11. He likes to rally from off the pace, but I do think this longer distance will probably suit him. Jace's Road from post 12, he's got some speed. I just don't know if he's fast enough to get the lead. They're going to have to ride him like they did in the Gun Runner if they want to get to the front. Go right out there and try to set the pace. In the Louisiana Derby, I thought he could control the pace. He was my top choice. He was 6-1. The pace was slow. He couldn't get in front of Kingsbarns. That was one where you would have thought that if they could get in front and control a race, that was the race they were going to do that. And I don't think the Kentucky Derby, he really has a shot, but he can impact the pace if they're aggressive early. Sun Thunder from post 13 is adding blinkers. He's a closer. He'll be coming from off the pace. I don't think the post hurts him. Angel of Empire seemed to do good at the pace draw. He's another one that likes to rally from off the pace. Back-to-back graded stakes wins at a mile and an eighth. I just don't know how good the Arkansas Derby was as a race as a whole. I just think that a lot of the horses didn't want to get the distance or couldn't get the distance, but Angel of Empire could. But I think from Flavien Prat riding him from post 14, I would expect that there's no reason why he can't stay in the clear throughout. Forte, actually, some of these horses are moving in a post, but he's number 15. But since Practical Moves out, moving in a spot, I don't think it's going to really cause him any trouble either. He's versatile. He can stalk. He can close. They can keep him out in the clear. Irad Ortiz Jr. will probably work out a clear trip aboard your morning line favorite. Raise Cane, probably up against it in here. He won the Gotham Stakes by 7 in the mud. Pace fell apart there. He was 5th in the Bluegrass Stakes in that 11-horse field from post 10. I don't think he's going to be able to turn the tables on a horse like Tapit Trice at this longer distance. Tapit Trice certainly is bred for it. Raise Cane has an okay pedigree, but I just don't see how he's going to move forward. Derma Sotogake, he would have had post 17, but he does move in a slot now after Practical Move is out. And he's one that he's got early pressing speed and that outer post to his jockey, Christophe Lemaire. He'll have some options. He can either go to the lead if nobody wants it. He can track outside. I can see him certainly working out a clear trip from here. Rocket Ken putting blinkers on. He likes to stalk wide, kind of like he did in the Holy Bull. He won that one. He's going to have that kind of trip again. He's just not fast enough at this point after losing the Fountain of Youth in the Arkansas Derby. But with blinkers on, they want to get him to stalk the pace, and he should be out in the clear, but he just could be too wide from that post. Lord Miles, he was the upset winner in the Wood Memorial, and he worked out a decent trip that day, but the Wood Memorial was not a fast race. He was 59-1 there, and I think he's an outsider in here. Continuar from Japan, he's in an outer post as well. He could not keep up with Derma Sotogake last time. He was 10 lengths behind that one. I don't see how he makes up 10 lengths on that horse in this spot from that post. And then Cyclone Mischief is now drawn into the field, and he will have the outside post for trainer Dale Romans. He's got experience, 7 starts, 2 wins, 3/3. He hit the board in the Florida Derby and the Fountain of Youth, but he was losing ground in the stretch in both of those races at a mile and a 16th and a mile and an eighth. And now he's got to go a mile and a quarter from that outside post, and I don't know how he's going to be able to save any ground from there. Now, the next horses that would get in, if there are any more defections, Mandarin Hero is now the first alternate, and I think he does have a shot if he gets in. He ran a good race in the Santa Anita Derby, missing by a nose. Practical Move set a perfect trip. Mandarin Hero had a bit of trouble. He was able to just miss. And then Skinner was third. Those 3 ran quality races. And I especially think that Skinner has an okay shot in the Derby from off the pace with a good post. And Mandarin Hero, if he can work out some kind of trip, if he gets in, maybe a bit interesting. And then King Russell would be the final, also eligible if he's able to get in. Hung out to dry. He rallied and got up for second in the Arkansas Derby. He just seems like the kind of horse, this son of Creative Cause, that's more of like a grinder, rallying from off the pace, passing some tired horses. I think that's what he did in the Arkansas Derby when a lot of horses didn't want the distance. Seems like more like a Belmont Stakes type horse. I don't know, but King Russell, I think if he did get in, could be in trouble from a post position standpoint. So overall, I think the horses that did best in the post draw, I'd say Forte did fine. Dermasoto Gake and Angel of Empire, 3 of them, they were solid contenders, and they drew fine post positions towards the outside. They should be able to work out clear trips from there if everything goes well in the early going. And then I thought Skinner is the other one that I thought drew a nice post position as a closer. So those are the horses that I think drew the best posts, and then towards the inside, you just don't want to be towards the inside in the Derby. I thought maybe the horse that could be affected the most is Verifying, because there are some other horses that are going to try to show speed, and he could end up getting caught trying to hustle a bit early, and that's going to cost him at the end of the race. So that's my thoughts on the post position draw. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you like this horse racing content. And that will wrap up my post position draw video, and I'll be back, and I'm going to be doing my analysis video of the Kentucky Derby. And until I see you next time, good luck at the races.